Hello, everyone. This is a video essay about how media narratives can reshape democratic values and societies into authoritarian ones by normalizing control, misinformation, and fear. To explore this transformation, I will analyze two dystopian stimuli. First one being The Handmaid's Tale, and the second one being Snowpiercer. Then we will compare them with real-life social and political trends, including social media movements and social state control mechanics in countries such as United States. Now, the main topic of this video, as mentioned, is how the media can reshape democratic values into authoritarian ones by normalizing control, misinformation, and fear. All this if its influence is not identified and questioned on time. Now, before using these works as analytical tools, it's important to understand their origin and purpose. First, we have The Handmaid's Tale. It was written by Margaret Atwood in 1985 as a response to historical patterns of repression, particularly the rise of religious fundamentalism and the systematic control of women. Atwood has emphasized that every element of Gilead, or the imaginary country that this book has, was inspired by real events that already occurred. So, although this is fictional, it's all real, based on activities that oppress and have been doing this for a long time. Now, television or series adaptation modernizes these concepts, portraying it to a new future United States where democratic institutions have collapsed gradually rather than suddenly. Now, for the second stimuli we're going to use is called Snowpiercer. This was originated as a French graphic novel and was later adapted into film and television series. This was conceived as a critique to the class inequalities that happen in real world, as authoritarian order and the idea that oppression can be justified in the name of survival. This is set on a climate catastrophe, and the story depicts humanity confined in a single train divided into rigid social classes. These both narratives explore how mm, powerful governments can sustain itself through ideology, controlled information and fear, rather than just physical violence. In modern society, social media platforms increasingly function as sources of authority. For example, algorithms that run these social medias prioritize emotionally charged content instead of objective content. This allows misinformation and extreme opinions to spread faster than factual information. And this repetition gives credibility to narratives even though they lack evidence. In The Handmaid's Tale, the population is slowly conditioned to accept authoritarian rule. Here, media outlets are restricted, language is controlled, and alternative perspectives have disappeared completely. Citizens are taught that obedience equals safety, and similarly, in the real life, social media platforms often amplify polarizing content, creating these echo chambers where specific ideologies are reinforced and normalized. Okay, going to the second argument, we have one of the most visible real world examples of value manipulation in the rise of social media trends that promote rigid traditional roles, such as the tradwife movement. These narratives present traditional gender roles and nuclear families as a moral ideal, framing feminism and social progress as threats to social stability. This mirrors also The Handmaid's Tale, where women are reduced to predetermined roles justified on religion imposed morality. In both cases, in the real world and this fiction, complex societal realities are simplified into moral binaries, discouraging critical thinking and legitimizing restrictions on individual rights. The danger lies not only in the individual lifestyle choices, but on the portrayal of these choices as the only acceptable form of identity. For the third part, we have what fear can make us do. And here, fear is one of the most effective tools of authoritarian power. During economic recessions, migration crises, or security threats, media narratives often emphasize danger and instability. Sorry. This creates public support for increased surveillance and also reduce civil liberties. In Snowpiercer, the fear of extinction of the whole humanity is used to justify this extreme class inequality. The lower classes are told that rebellion would end humanity itself. Similarly, in these contemporary societies, institutions such as the immigration enforcement agencies are often framed as necessary instruments of national survival. In the United States, the expansion of border control, detention systems, and surveillance technology is frequently justified through these fear based narratives about security and identity. And while these measures are presented as protection, they often result in the erosion of human rights, particularly on marginalized communities such as Hispanic. Now, to compare these both dystopias, this illustrates how authoritarian systems depend on ignorance and normalization, not just on physical rightness or imposal. Now, in Snowpiercer, hierarchy is portrayed as a natural and unavoidable law. In The Handmaid's Tale, is more this religious conservatism that erase personal autonomy. All this in real life trends reflects that these dynamics, when media normalizes exclusion and presents regression as stability, can frame this descent as danger. Fiction, of course, will exaggerate what happens in reality, but it does not embed it. As mentioned, everything, for example, in The Handmaid's Tale, has been based on real life events. And well, these both dystopias function not as predictions, but as warnings, because they can reveal how quickly societies can abandon democratic values when fear and morality are weaponized by these media narratives. Understanding and questioning media representation is essential to preventing authoritarian drift from society. Control does not begin with force. As mentioned, it will begin with stories that will go unchallenged.